If you guys remember when I first started talking about Meghan Walsh, John Walsh, we talked a little bit about a man by the name of Maga Jackson. The research that I had pulled on a Maga Jackson was that he was a Trump supporter. Maga Jackson, Meghan Walsh had done an interview where she said that someone by the name of Maga Jackson had fathered her one of her children. Okay, so Maga Jackson, and I didn't think I was gonna really have to go into this one, but now that JLR has done an interview with a victim of Maga Jackson, yes, I said a victim. You guys will see a little bit more. I'm a little like, I cannot believe that this is happening. Um, well, not that I can't believe, but I guess the man is a con artist. One of the questions I had asked over and over is why hasn't the removal of Meghan Walsh's children hit the major media outlets, right? This is one of the questions that we've all had. Meghan had just had a baby that was removed at about 5 days old. The three other children are with Reeve and John Walsh. Okay. And so we know that the custody arrangements are there. Now, Meghan had done an interview where she alleged that someone by the name of Maga Jackson fathered one of her children. We briefly talked about Maga Jackson when I first started talking about this whole story. Maga Jackson, as you can see, I I was I was confused about this because I couldn't find any um, association or affiliation um, with the Jackson family. But listen to this interview that JLR Jonathan Lee Ritchie's did with a person that dealt with Maga Jackson. Now, this man right here, they both did music videos together. So you just listen. I'm a little like, I have no reaction quite yet. Just listen to this interview and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And we will stop it because we're doing this under fair use and giving commentary for educational purposes. Let's go. So JLR does an interview with a man by the name of Trent Lizzie. Now, Trent Lizzie, I'm going to show you guys some pictures, did some music videos that were promoting Trump. Watch what is said in this interview, okay? Just watch.
Trent, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Thanks for reaching out to me. So you saw the video that I made about Maga Jackson, and then you reached out to me and said, I think there's some important things I need to share with you about him.
Correct, yes.
So what's going on?
You know, I met this guy, he refers to himself as Maga Jackson. I don't believe he deserves that title, MAGA. He's a con artist. We happened to run into each other back in December. It was a fluke thing. We were at the Bill O'Reilly Trump history tour. We ended up sitting next to each other back to back, 2 different days. And, when we walked away from day 2, we kind of felt like, oh, maybe it was our fate. We're supposed to run into each other. We exchanged contact information. We were in contact with each other for, maybe 3-4 weeks before he reached out and he said, hey, I got a business proposition for you. I'd like for you to come out to Tampa. I'd like to discuss it with you. I want to get in and start doing business with you. We're going to be big in the Trump world. This is all going to be about Trump. Come on out. Let's talk about it. So I flew out here. And what turned into...
When you say here, Tampa.
I'm here in Tampa, yes.
And where are you originally from?
I'm from Colorado.
Colorado.
And so I flew out here to Tampa, and what turned into what I was hoping was a good trip ended up being, a 7-day, 7 days of him draining money from me. It's something I talk about because people need to be aware. This guy's a big scam artist. He took $140,000 from me.
Let's say that again.
$140,000 from me.
He took $140,000 from this man. Okay. Now remember, I had said when I said the first part of this story when I was covering, there was a man by the name of Maga Jackson who allegedly fathered one of Meghan Jackson's children, right? Which now in my mind I'm thinking, well, does Maga have custody of any of these kids? Because currently these kids are residing with the Walshes, right? So just kind of makes you wonder custody and relationship. And here's this man saying that he was scammed from $140,000 from a Maga Jackson. Okay, let's keep playing this interview.
$140,000
in a 7-day period, and I'm, I'm not ashamed of it. Showtime is doing a series on this guy. I interviewed with them.
7-day period. Showtime is doing a series on a Maga Jackson. Okay.
This is a story that needs to be told. And, he's a good con artist. He's actually on probation for the next 30 years for conning a lady out of $70,000. He was in jail for 5 years. I didn't find any of this out until a month after I separated ways with him. He promised that, he said, I'm the Trump, personal R&B artist, that, he was finishing up an album that, was going to take us to the next level. And if Trump got back in the White House, we were going to be there with him, and we were going to go into podcasts, and we were going to do all these things. And, he had that.
I didn't know Trump had a personal R&B artist. Does he have a personal R&B artist? I don't know. Somebody answer. If you guys know of anybody in the chat, just put it in the chat.
Set up. He had a fake letter that he forged on behalf of Trump.
And you showed me that before we came on, because I was asking, hey, do you have any kind of proof or anything?
Yeah.
Can you share that? Do you mind sharing that?
I've got it right here on my phone here, where he had, and then he also had a shout out from Don Jr. that I didn't know was paid for. I guess you can pay a celebrity to give you a shout out.
Similar to like a cameo?
Yeah, cameo. That's what it was. And he had all of these cameos, and I didn't know what it was. That's how ignorant I was to this whole thing.
But what was the actual business proposition that when you gave
Lord
her $140,000? What was it? What did he want, and what did he guarantee you?
So what he gave? Okay, so the original business proposition was, it started out as, hey, I need 30 grand. I'll give you 60. Okay, because he wanted to finish his quote unquote thriller album that he was working on, and it was, hey, once I get this album finished, boom, we're right there with Trump. Trump's we're with him at CPAC. We're sitting at his table. We're going to be in Mar-a-Lago. And he to the point where he says, hey, I got my own room at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. Like, they gave me my own room. And so, he would pull stuff up on his phone and say, hey, look, see, and I think it was either forged or he stole it somehow. I don't know. But, he's a very good con artist. So what it ended up being after the end of 7 days was, hey, you invested 140 in me. I'm going to give you 250 once here's a contract. This is your contract of our agreement, one. And then it was, hey, here's the contract with the record label, and this is how much they're going to give me. They're going to give me $400,000.
Keep in mind that this is someone that allegedly fathered one of Meghan Walsh's children. This is something that Meghan Walsh confirmed in an interview, okay, on YouTube as well. So keep that in mind, all right? Which then makes me kind of wonder why John Walsh, maybe this is one of the reasons why he's not wanting to, talk about this publicly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Let me know.
For this album, and I believe all of it was fake. I believe the contract with the record label was fake. He even went as far as to say Netflix is doing a deal on me, and he's, he showed me the so-called contract with a private producer who was going to do a series on him because he's, Michael Jackson's nephew.
Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think he does a good job of making himself look. See, because he says his dad's Jermaine Jackson. And that's who he says his dad is, and he does a good job of making himself look like him.
So he says his dad is Jermaine Jackson, right? Now, I'm just going to be honest. When I heard Meghan Walsh say that one of her children was fathered by a Maga Jackson, and then I went and I did some research, and then I also contacted a couple people that I know just to verify, is there such a thing as is there a Maga Jackson in the family tree? And I couldn't find the connection. I just figured his name was Maga Jackson because he's a Trump supporter. Make America Great Again, based on the hat and the slogan and whatever, right? Yeah, I never I couldn't find the family tree that would link this man to a Jermaine Jackson. But hey, I don't know. I mean, he kind of looks like a Jackson, but he's not a Jackson. But let's keep going.
If you look at a picture side by side, anybody would say, they look like each other, so it must be true. I don't know if it's true.
So it seems like he's almost doubling what you gave in and said that you'll get back. Did he say a specific time frame when you would get that money?
So he told me by March 15th, because we started January 15th, and he says, I need 2 months to pay you back. And I will say I did walk away from the deal before the end of the 2-month period, so before March 15th, because I just knew in my heart that this was just going south. you know.
So let's retrack. Let's go back a little bit. So it started out with 30,000, right? Is that just what you were planning on only giving him?
Yeah, because see,
to get the double the back.
So in fact, before going down there, I didn't even know that there was even going to be any money exchanged, okay, like money given. And so the night before I left to fly to Houston, Tampa, you know, he said, "Hey, question for you. How much liquid cash could you get a hold of today if you needed to?" And I'm just like, so I sent him an amount, and I said, "Oh, maybe 30,000. I don't know. I'd have to really look into it." And he says, "Okay, perfect." And that was the end of it. And so that first night that I was here in Tampa in my hotel room, and he had his book out. He has like a 30-page business plan that I'll show you. You know, I'll give it to you so you can have it. You know, and it's a very methodical, laid out business plan that, you know, is, you know, anybody looking at it be like, okay.
You know, when I think about con artists, right? Most con artists have a business plan. You know, they have things very thoroughly thought out. Hence why they're able to con very well. At least the really, really good ones. Now, I'm assuming that this man is able to con $140,000, and then prior to that, it sounded like he was able to con a woman out of 70,000. I'm thinking that this is a really good con artist that would have a 30-year plan, a 5-year plan, very well written, great headers, Donald Trump letters, forged letters that he might have. Clearly not, definitely not new to the game of being a con artist, but I'm just like, and again, this is the man that allegedly fathered one of Meghan Walsh's children. Again, we're crediting Jonathan Lee Ritchie's JLR, his channel, for this impromptu interview that is just crazy. But hey, you know, shout out to him. Make sure you check out his channel, guys. Let's go.
Maybe I shouldn't, you know, maybe I could invest in this guy. And so it wasn't until that first night that I was here where we sat in the room and he said, "Okay, did you bring the cash?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know, he says, "Well, I asked you how much you can get a hold of, you know, and so it was every single day, every single night. It was, "I need this much money. I need you to pay for this. We need to buy this. If we don't," and it was,
because the math goes up like 60 or 30,000 each day. What was the next day? Another 30. Like,
well, so it was.
How were the increments? Like,
so the first day was 30. I'll give you 60. The next day was, "Okay, well, I think you got about 50 into this, so I'll do 100." So by the end of it, by the end of 7 days, I'm like, "Dude, I have 140,000 in you." Like I was sweating. I was like, "Oh my God, I just can't believe I just dumped this much money into this guy." And his thing was, "Oh, I'll just give you 250." And I was just like, you know, that's strange. How can your increments go up that fast, right? Like, okay, so now I have 140 and you say, "I'll just give you 250. You'll have 250.
So did you just at that point a week later just shut it down and say, "I don't want any, I'm not giving any more till I get something back"?
So what happened was that when I left here, we didn't talk for about a week, and because I didn't know like how to process everything that happened here. And so it's the first time that I've ever pulled money from my business that I own. You know, I had to pull money from investments to, you know,
I feel kind of bad for this man. I really do. I mean, it sucks when, you know, I've had a con artist take advantage of me. You know, if anybody's ever had that feeling, I do feel bad for him. When somebody claims, and this is just me though, when somebody claims to be related to a celebrity or to seek something out of me, to me that is always a red flag. So I think that that's something that we can all learn from here. You know, I feel bad for this guy, but I did see this guy in a couple of videos on his on Maga Jackson's channel, and you could, as you can see as I'm playing these here, and you guys can see the images. There must have been a business deal that happened here, and I really do hope that he does seek compensation for his money, because that's not cool.
Recoup, you know, what I had to put out, what I put out for this business deal, and so we ended up meeting up one more time in Houston about a month later at the Freedom Tour in Houston, and I was with him for 3 days there, and when I left there, I knew I was done. You know,
why is it? What kind of? Because, what was red flags to you, or did you see red flags?
Oh my gosh, you know, I was seeing red flags the first time I was out here, but I just thought, well, maybe this is how it's supposed to go. I don't know, because he would say, "Oh, you don't know anything about the artist world. You don't, you know, I'm an artist. I'm Michael Jackson's nephew." That's what he would always say, you know, or he would say, if you mess this up, then my name's going to be ruined. And, and so after the Freedom Tour in Houston about a month later, I just said, I just can't do this anymore. And I told him before I left, I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I said, you've drained a lot of money from me. Everything you said has not come true. Because he would say, oh, bro, I got you. I'll send you this, or I'll send you that, or we'll do this, or we'll do that. And it would never happen. And so, about a week after the Freedom Tour, I sent him a message and I said, I just can't do this anymore. And I told him, I said, I was never going to see this money anyways.
Did you ask for the money back?
Oh, yeah, I asked for the money back several times. And then he got arrested. And I was like, why would he get arrested?
Arrested where and for
he
what?
He got arrested here in Tampa. And that's when I found out about his past, that he was on probation, that he had scammed people before. And, they arrested him on a technicality. Because his probation officer, he wasn't allowed to be on social media. He wasn't allowed to fly around the country. And he was all over.
So he had conditions while on probation?
Yeah, he was all over the place. And when I contacted his probation.
Damn. So he violated the probation, wasn't allowed to be on social media, wasn't allowed to be flying all over the country. Can you guys believe this? You give this man this money for a business proposition, and then you come to find out that he's not even supposed to be, doing the kind of business that you are propositioning and signing up for. Like, this is crazy. And I really hope that this brings up some awareness. When I did my thumbnail for this, I said we have to out this man. And I don't know if he knows that somebody's using the Jackson name, although I'm sure it's probably not the first time that this has happened to the Jackson family. But he's straight up saying that he's Michael Jackson's nephew. Wow.
Officer, she said, well, I'm his mother with a marriage. So then it ended up getting escalated to her boss, who then removed him from her. She's no longer there. He went to jail for 60 days because they were trying to hold him on something until, I could get down here to file a charge, or there are other people who, are victims that I know of that, either had started the process or was going to start the process to file charges against him.
So there are other victims?
I know 2 other victims.
Recent encounters like yours?
During my time, yeah. So he got out of jail last June or July. Okay?
What was he in jail for, do you know?
Well, yeah, so he was in jail for 5 years for scamming a lady out of like $70,000. And then he was put on probation for like 20 years after that.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. And so when he got arrested, that's when I started like, what the heck's going on? Like, trying to figure out all this stuff that's going on. And, that's when I found all this stuff, that this is who he is. He's a scam artist. And really, when I look back and look at the whole situation, this man took and targeted the most vulnerable people in the United States. And those people are Trump supporters. And I say that openly because people flock to the thousands to come see him. Tens of thousands to see Trump. To get a picture with him. If you tell somebody, hey, I think I can get you this, they're like, oh, wow, maybe this and that.
So he toyed off people's most vulnerabilities.
People's vulnerability in the Trump world, because everybody he's targeted since he's been out of jail last July.
If you are a Trump supporter, I guess that depends how hardcore and deep you go into the politicking and the supporting and stuff. Keep that in mind. I'm not a Trump supporter. However, I don't feel like do not believe anybody should be scammed. This man flocks towards Trump supporters, allegedly based on what Mr. Trent is saying. I think that warrants a warning and a heads up for everyone who is dealing with this Maga Jackson personality. We do find out who his real name is, by the way, because Mr. Trent does let us know, since the Maga Jackson has a record of doing this kind of stuff.
Has been Trump supporters. And, and so it's a sad situation. I filed charges against, I went to the police department while I was here in Tampa this week, and I, filed a report, so they have it. And,
you think anything's going to come out of that?
I think so, because, when I walked in, when I walked into the police department and I said, hey, I'm here, I need to file a report. And as soon as I said Andre Vaughn, a.k.a. Maga Jackson, the lady said, we know exactly who you're talking about. And, said this guy needs to be in jail. And I think they want him in jail because he deserves to be in jail for what he's done to people. I've heard through some very good sources that, Meghan Walsh has received some of the money that Andre took from me.
And you told me that off camera.
Shut the fuck up. Sorry, guys. No, he said that Meghan Walsh received some of the money that was taken from Mr. Trent. Can you guys OMG. Wow. I mean, is that like child support? Like in lieu of child support? Wow.
Explain more about that. Why do you think that?
Because I've got some really close people that I know and I trust very well who know Meghan Walsh, who dealt with Meghan Walsh, and I've never dealt with her, never seen her, never met her. I don't even know what she would, I've seen pictures, but I don't even know if she was in the room today, if I would know who that was. And that, she was part of this with Andre. They have proof of Cash Apps, or I think it's Cash App accounts or Venmo accounts or something that is tied back to Meghan Walsh and Meghan Walsh's cell phone number. And so, they have since, or Meghan Walsh has since then cut ties with these people because, they have confronted her. And so, this whole thing with Meghan Walsh.
Oh my God, guys. And it just occurred to me as I'm re-listening to this. God forbid that somehow Meghan Walsh is involved in this type of scam artistry stuff, okay? Scam artist stuff, all right? Because I'm just thinking in my mind, well, why hasn't John Walsh spoken up? Why hasn't the removal of her kids? Now we know that one of those, or at least allegedly one of those kids, based on what Meghan said, was fathered by a Maga Jackson, Maga Jackson, okay? What if, like, the reason why Mr. John Walsh doesn't want to speak out is because of this whole entanglement here, because there might be criminal charges, or Meghan somehow might be involved in this. I really hope that that's not the case, but this is crazy. This is crazy. I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments, please.
Walsh and Andre Vaughn and whatever goes on with Meghan Walsh and her dad, which I don't even know anything about it. I don't care to know anything about it. This is a big, big situation. And I just encourage anybody who's ever been scammed by Andre to come forward, and let people know what kind of guy this is. I know he's back on social media using fake accounts to sell his Jackson privilege, hats that he claims that he sells to people, which I've heard people buy them and never receive the hats. So I don't know what's doing that. But, my story goes deeper than our conversation here today. It's there's so much more, that there's more details, in terms of.
And show me that what you were going to show me in reference to the letterhead, the Trump letterhead.
So this is, I don't know if you can see it on there. So this is a letter that he, basically forged on behalf of Donald Trump, going as far as saying, I'm the personal R&B artist of the Trump family. This is something he used. And then if you can look at Donald Trump's name, you can tell where it's shaded a little bit different.
Yeah, it does look a different color. I do see that right around there.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to text you a copy of this so you can have it. And
so he presented.
I'm going to try to blow that picture up a little bit more so that we can see it and read it. They didn't read it out loud here, but I would like to know what the letter says. This is very sketchy, guys. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, ooh, okay. Let's continue to watch.
Presented that letter to you saying what? Like, I'm backed by Trump. Trump even reached out to me.
Here's what's interesting. So I got this letter. I got this letter after I cut ways with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So after I parted ways with him, I parted ways with him before February 26th. And it's because I did 2022 this year, because I did, then he turned around and created this letter. He didn't show me this letter. This letter was made after I cut ways with him, because I was his only source of income during that period. And it was like maybe a 6 to 7 week period. But all his was videos and pictures of him standing in front of Mar-a-Lago, and maybe he did get pictures standing in Mar-a-Lago, as a way to show people. I don't know, they could have been photocropped. I don't know, but here I lived a very simple life in Colorado, and met a guy who his first business deal I've ever done where I never looked into somebody, and I took his word and trusted him, and he made me feel like oh, hey, you know what, we're going to see Trump at CPAC, we're going to be, if he gets reelected again, we're going to be with him in his team, and we're going to be doing all these things, and he took me.
What about if criminal charges aren't brought against him? Do you plan to do any type of civil charges against him, like sue him?
Probably. I mean, the bad thing with all that is, will you ever see a dime? You know, so it takes a lot of money to go after somebody. You know what it'd be for me? I'd just be happy to see the guy in jail. He deserves to be there. You know, he deserves to spend his life there. And, you know, he claims that that if I ever came after him, you know, because he did threaten me a few times.
Threaten you like how?
Like, oh, I've got dirt on you, or I know that I can get you in jail. See, and here's what he did. So when I separated ways, so there's this guy named Joel Hayes, aka.
Well, that's a pretty well-known tactic for a scam artist, right? A con artist is, to threaten or to try to hold something over someone's head. I feel, I would love to talk to Mr. Trent here. If I would love for Mr. Trent to reach out to us, because I'd like to bring some more awareness to this. And I mean, what do you guys think in the comments? This is a pretty sad situation. I honestly don't, regardless of where you land, whether you're a Trump supporter or not. That's not even what this is about. This is about the fact that this man was scammed, and it's really sad, right? It's not okay. So shout out to Mr. Trent. Mr. Trent, if you're watching, reach out to us. I'm gonna put the email in my scrolling thing. Reach out and let us know what's up. If you want to interview, bring some more awareness. Maybe if you want us to look into this situation a little bit more, we definitely will. So as long as you provide us some receipts, and I'm sure that we all just want to know what the hell happened to you in your experience.
Who's a really bad individual that lives down in Texas, and so he used that man to come after me. Okay, and it took me a lot of dollars to fight this guy, to get him to stop for 2 months fight. But from the moment Andre Vaughn was arrested until like a week, I think it was like a week after Andre got out of jail. So for a little over a 2-month period, it was almost every day this man was attacking me, calling me a rapist, calling me a human trafficker. And it was over and over and over and over.
Was this, do you think, kind of like intimidation, bully tactic to scare you away from trying to retrieve your money back?
Because what he wanted is he wanted me to say, oh yes, I did that. Because his thing was, well, if you just admit to it, this will all go away. And I'm like, I'm not going to admit to something that's not true. So I fought it every day, and he's doing the same thing to other people. This Joel Hayes is doing the same thing to other people who have been wronged by Andre Vaughn.
So it's fair to say those two are working together.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to claim they're not. They claim that they hate each other, but it's all a game.
Do you think there's others involved with them on this plot to try to, lure vulnerable people in at Trump rallies or Trump events or something? Is that maybe one of the reasons why he attends these events to try to prey on people?
I mean, he even went after, a front row Joe, Mike Boatman, went after him. And I'd never met this guy, but supposedly he was supposed to have a seat for us at the Conroe, Texas rally, and I don't know what happened. Something happened, and I was never privy. I was never in on these discussions on what went on. And I know after the rally, he wrote a song that disparaged Forgiana Blow, disparaged Mike Boatman, and some other people who supposedly wronged him. And that's just what kind of individual he is. And then, if to get back on his good side, you got to apologize and say, yeah, I'm wrong. I shouldn't have done this. And then he was back. Then you were supposed to be on his good side.
It makes you wonder, like, for instance, it makes me thinking now because.
So not working alone, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys think that Meghan Walsh is part of this too? You think other people are part of this as well, and are involved in this? I mean, if allegedly she accepted money from, like, this is what Mr. Trent had said. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. This is crazy.
Meghan Walsh had a child with Andre,
yes,
Maga Jackson, and they're having a custody battle. I'm wondering maybe, and I've tried to reach out to John Walsh. I'm still trying to reach out. No comment. He actually hangs the phone up on me. I'm wondering if, it's something to do with maybe Maga Jackson, that John Walsh is having these children taken away, or her associating with Maga Jackson.
Well, and what's interesting, and see, this is how much of a con artist he is. So he told me right before I shut off, because I blocked him from my phone.
Okay, so no other future contact ever again.
No, I blocked him back in June. I blocked him back in June because he was, when he got out of jail, he contacted me and he's like, man, don't come after me. I'm going to pay you your money by the end of the year. I'm going to send you money tomorrow. I'm going to get you your podcasting equipment back to you.
Oh, so you gave him podcasting equipment too?
Yeah.
How much was that worth?
$10,000.
And you never got that back? No. So that's on top of the 140, the money that he took.
Yeah, and so so what he did was he was trying to sweet talk me to, not do, because he knew. he even said on video to this Joel Hayes that I got him. You know, all I had to do was go down to Tampa PD and file a report against him, and he's screwed. And he knows this. And that's why he really tried to sweet talk me to the point where he was using this baby as a means to say, you know, hey, don't do anything. I got this, you know, I've got this baby with Meghan Walsh. And I said, well, has the baby been born yet? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, how do you not know? I said, are you the father? He says, I don't know. They came and did a paternity test, swabbed my mouth, and he says, I don't know if it is. And I said, well,
oh my God. Shout out to, again, Jonathan Lee Ritchie's JLR. Make sure you guys check out his channel. Okay, he's been doing a lot of good following and coverage of the Summer Wells case. Okay. Shout out to him, and I'll make sure I put his information in the description box. We're using this under fair use for commentary purposes. Why I'm bringing this up right now is Meghan Walsh has said that her child was fathered by Maga Jackson, right? And so now hearing Mr. Trent and what he's saying, you know, there's a baby. I don't know if it's his. We don't know if it's his. That this is coming into question. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments about this, because this is a little wow. It's a lot. It's a lot to consume.
it's pretty easy to find out with all the people who did it. And then after the baby was born, he had called me and he said, "Yo, yeah, John Walsh and I are good friends. You know, he's going to let me see the kid whenever I want." And I said, "Well, what's your relationship with Meghan?" He says, "Oh, we're no longer together anymore. It's just me and John with this kid. Once the kid gets a certain age, John's gonna let me have the kid." I'm just like, "You don't even take care of your other kids. So John Walsh is gonna hand you this kid?"
He has other kids
Oh yeah, he has other kids
with other females.
Yeah, I know two of for sure that he showed me pictures of. I don't know if there's any more. There could be. What was interesting is that when the first day that I met him, one of the first things that he did was show me the picture of him and Meghan Walsh in bed together, and then showed me a picture of, you know, her pregnant. And, you know, at first I was like, okay, that's cool. But see, he told me John Walsh hooked them to a girl that's from that's what he told me. So this guy, you know, I don't know what to believe. I do believe, from what I've been told, that is his baby. I know there were some videos and some pictures and stuff online that Meghan had posted or something. So, but it was my understanding that it is his baby. To what extent? I was told that they're talking now, that they're together now. Somebody close to me has said that they know that they're living together now. I don't know if that's true.
So moving forward, one, do you think he's dangerous? Do you think Maga Jackson's dangerous?
I think he's dangerous in the way, not physically dangerous, mentally dangerous, because he knows how to come at you and he knows how to tear you down. And he is very good at manipulating people, and he's very good at, if he doesn't get his way or he doesn't feel like you're on his side, you know, he does a good way of kind of threatening you in a way of, I'm going to ruin you, or I can ruin you because I'm a Jackson. And that's what he would always say, I'm a Jackson. You know, we are untouchable. And that is what he uses all the time.
So do you plan to monitor his future movements and kind of see what he's doing? And for instance, if you see him or hear of him having any type of economic business opportunities with other people or engaging in commerce with other people, are you going to warn them, or what are you doing moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's a group of us that have gotten it. You know, we become friends through this thing because, you know, we all were victims of him.
Wait, he said that there's a group of them. A group. Oh my God. A group. Like a group of people that have been scammed by a Maga Jackson? Yo, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. This is crazy. This is too crazy. I can't believe it.
And, you know, what's nice is not only can we all understand the situation, but we're all actively making sure that if we do see him somewhere, and like right now, we've been putting, you know, there's a group of people that have been putting out, you know, his fake accounts, along with his probation officer's number that says, hey, you know, if you've been scammed, call this number. It's his probation officer. And, you know, and so I'm hoping, and I feel like, and I believe that Tampa PD, along with Hillsborough County's Sheriff's Department Economic Crime Unit, will actually, I believe they're going to take this seriously. I believe they're going to go after him.
If they don't, will you proceed federal? Will you file federal complaint, maybe with the FBI?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly will look at going that route if for whatever reason, I don't know if they would pick it up or not, but I certainly would look into it and see if it's something that they can do. I right now I'm going to be optimistic that Tampa PD will take a look at it.
$140,000. I would hope that this would be federal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys' thoughts are? That's what I assumed. That at this point, and then in another state, he scammed a woman of 70,000. I would think that this would be federal at this point, and he's on probation. I would hope that this would be federal.
So how are you mentally holding up? Are you okay? Like what like describe, like, do you have like sleepless nights because of this? Has it caused you kind of like in debt? Like you're in debt?
Well, I mean, it's put me in debt in ways that I never have been in debt before. My business financially is struggling just because, a lot of the money I pulled from my business. And I don't get, the way the ag industry, I'm in the ag industry. So the way the ag industry is set up is most of the money you make is in the fall and winter. And so, and so all the money that, I kind of, that I put out there for him, was money to help me get through to that point again. So, I mean, my business will stay afloat, but, it is stressful to think about it. It has kept me up at nights. It does,
How do you cope?
I cope by probably drinking too much Coca-Cola.
Not
I'm
alcohol?
alcoholic. I don't do drugs, smoke, nothing like that. But, I just, it's been hard coping with it. I mean,
Poor guy.
I
drink a lot of caffeine.
With it. And, I was so worried of it hitting my hometown because so many people thought that was really cool. He did a music video with me as a way to, kind of like put me out there.
So he did a music video with you.
He sure did a music video with him. Let's look a little snippet on that. As you guys can see, we're not going to play the audio because we don't want to get struck and we don't know what he has or anything. But just some of the images that you guys can see here from that music video. This is crazy. Yeah, this man, Mr. Trent, did appear in a music video. When I was looking into this, that's where I found Mr. Trent's face.
Kind of like, just, was this before you gave him the money or after?
This was during this was part of the business.
Okay.
And so, people in my hometown loved it, commented on it, thought it was great. And so it was hard when it finally broke in my hometown, and it broke through this Joel Hayes, who contacted a bunch of people in my hometown and was telling them that I was this, rapist and human trafficker and all these bad things. But, it's kind of been more of a relief to be able to talk about it, to be able to tell the story, for people to see and hear and understand, what type of guy he is, and, to just be cautious with all people. I mean, if somebody comes up and promises you something, look into it before you agree.
So you're gonna do your best not to make the same mistake again, trusting someone like that.
I will say it has depleted trust. I mean, it is hard for me to trust anybody now because I just, I don't know what their motives or intentions are anymore. So,
well, I'd like to keep following up with you on this. Keep tabs with me. I'm interested to know the process. I am going to reach out to Meghan and Maga Jackson about this and ask for comment on this, and maybe they have their other side of the story. Maybe you would like to hear.
Shout out to, again, Jonathan Lee Ritchie's. Make sure you guys check out his channel. I'm gonna blow up this letter, see if we can do anything with it from because I mean the visual from the camera to the phone is probably not that great, but we'll see what we can pull from that. Let me read this letter that was supposedly written by Donald Trump, okay? And it's very blurred, so I try my best to do like a zoom in, a bigger screenshot of it and play with the magnifier, but this is what it reads. Dear Andre, I love your album entitled Trump Card, especially the song Let's Go Brandon. I also had the opportunity to listen to a couple of your latest Trump thrillers. Your uncle, Michael Jackson, was a very dear friend to me, and your work ethics are remarkable like his. Continue to inspire our patriots from around the world and continue to give the Jackson sound that we all know and love. My son, Donald Trump Jr., has given you the position of being the personal R&B artist of the Trump family. That leads me to advise that you have a job to fulfill. Therefore, from the Trump family, keep up the excellent work by continuing to help us make America great again. And then if you scroll to the letter as Mr. Trent shows us, there's like a signature of supposedly Donald Trump, which is questionable at this point. What do you guys think about this letter? What do you guys think about this story overall? The entanglement, the web here. Now, we are going to give more commentary to the Meghan Walsh removal of her kids. I had so many great comments from my last 2 videos about the reasoning behind why the baby was removed at 5 days. So much so that a lot of it is public record, and we're going to be pulling those, but I want to redact so much information, and instead of just posting this, because it is private, right? To have a mother go through, any mother that ever has to go through something like this is horrible. So I don't want to be showing all that here, but I want to be able to give some commentary and do it very tactfully and respectfully, out of respect for Meghan and her children, okay? It was said also that there is a GoFundMe that was started where Meghan is able to now get an attorney. I'll show you guys a picture of that. And people are donating. Now, I'm still in my mind, okay, this has not hit the major media outlets, okay? John Walsh hasn't given a statement or spoken on it. Now you have this man who allegedly fathered one of the kids, and now these people are coming out about being scammed groups, according to Mr. Trent. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments.
Yeah, that was a good one. But the one thing about it is that it's not Nancy Pelosi. And I appreciate you again, John, for giving me a shout out with the Trump card and Let's Go Brandon. And this is why I made Let's Go Brandon. I agree. I knew the situation was coming. But who knows, Michael might be alive. Oh, golly.